The only way you can be the best at what you're doing is if you're researching and constantly in the game.
Yeah, and know your game
And
off the
know
back of
your
your
game
hand.
off the back of your hand, exactly that.
How do you then plan and target how many cars you want to sell in the second quarter of the year, for example?
I'm pushing myself to try and get 5 car sales, which will then lead me to get 3 car sales. So if I'm pushing myself, I'm thinking that 10x rule.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of CEOCAST. Now, as you would have seen from the title, as you would have seen from our thumbnail, I'm at GV, and today I'm joined with George. So, George, I want to welcome you to CEOCAST.
Pleasure.
In fact, this is the second time you've been on the channel now.
Second time, yeah. The first time we did a walk around.
The stock's completely changed since then. I mean, you guys have got new stock every single day. We've got a center right here. I don't know if you guys can see it on camera. Get some cinematic shots of it, but I mean, crazy amounts of stock levels that you guys have here.
Yeah, we try and turn over our cars as soon as possible, so get some cars that flip within a day. For example, this Senna, it's in Volcano Red, MSO options all over. And just flew into stock last week, and fingers crossed, I think we may have just agreed a deal on it today. So it didn't even hit the market.
So you made the sale on it?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that's where we start, because you seem to be selling cars for everyone. I mean, if we just name the list of people that have been on the channel or whatnot, Demo, you've sold many cars to him. You've got Mist as well, when he picked up the McLaren. Wes Nelson, you've had footballers, you've got so many different people. So I think this is where I want to start. I want to just set the mood of the podcast. I want to say, I want to buy a car, but I'm going to be a bit of an annoying customer that doesn't want to part with the money yet, but I've heard you're the salesman of the year to make me part with my money. So let's just say, if I wanted to say, right, George, there's Hurricane behind me, I want to buy that. How much is it?
That car's up for 135,
Yeah.
but it'd be difficult for you to buy it because it just sold the other day.
Okay, cool. All right, let's do another car then.
Supply and demand. That's the key.
That green McLaren, is that sold?
The 675 LT Spider, not sold, no, not deposited, but I got a couple of people sniffing around it.
Okay, so a lot of stuff is for sale, so this is already going terrible. Okay, but look, let's just say hypothetically, there's a car that you've got that I'm interested in, right? Let's just say it's what car that I really want is an AMG GTS. I know you've had quite a few, you've probably got more coming and whatnot. So AMG GTS, about 70 grand.
Yeah.
Now, how do you make me buy that car? I see it and I'm still like, George, you know what? Let me have a think about it.
So what I do is I focus on the focal point of the conversation, which is an AMG GTS. Now I know that's what you want. So then I'll try and match it up with what I've got access to. Now at the moment, I've got a limited edition, 50th edition AMG GTC. I know your budget, you said, is around 70 grand. That car's up for 110 grand.
Yeah.
I'll then try and make up the difference by talking you into it as an investment piece. Now, investment is a very risky word for some people because you're almost promising people that they can make money. However, when we say investment, we say there's an investment potential. You can never guarantee anything in this industry. Anything can happen. You've seen what's happened with the COVID pandemic, and you've seen what's happened with recessions. The market can fall. So for me to focus and try and get you into that 50th edition, what I do is make you fall in love with it, bring the car into the showroom, put it on the stage of dreams, the gold ball in the background, get it spinning under the lights, build up that excitement. And then there's a term that I refer to as trigger words. You may then turn around and say, okay, it's out of budget. Budget's your first trigger word. Now, my response to that will be the world of finance. Have you ever thought about monthlies and how affordable it is for you to stretch it for that extra 40 grand?
How affordable is it? Because I mean, I don't want to put 110 grand cash down. That's like putting all your money into one basket, essentially.
Yeah.
So how do you make it seem affordable?
So you don't have to put 110 grand down. I mean, for example, if that car's up for 110, all they require is a 10% deposit. So you put down 11 grand down. I could probably get you a deal over 4 years with a very big, heavy residual, and rough figures, I'll probably get you into that car for £1,200 a month.
As a PCP or a HP?
So that would be a lease purchase with a balloon.
Okay.
Very similar to a PCP where you get the car and there's a balloon figure at the end. But with a PCP, you just give the car back to the bank. But you get very small and low residual prices with that. In this instance, if you're going for a lease purchase, you get a big balloon, a very, very big balloon that's determined by the help of us and skilled underwriters. And you don't have that guaranteed at the end. You can't just hand it back. But 99% of the time with these sort of cars, they don't lose value enough for you to justify handing it away.
So
back to the bank.
I haven't really done much finance before, so I don't really know the terms in terms of like residual, for example, like you said. So what is a residual?
Residual is the future value. So
Okay.
let's say you buy a car now and the finance term is 4 years. Now, if someone talks about the residual, it's what the price of the car is going to be at the end of the finance agreement. So after 4 years, on a PCP, it will be the banks determining what they think the car will be worth after 4 years.
Yeah.
Now, I'll give you a very quick example. On a PCP, let's say on a Hurricane, they would set roughly a 40% residual value after 4 years. Very rough figures. Now, after 4 years on a lease purchase with a balloon, I could probably stretch that up to about 60%, depending on the car. So massive difference already. Now, the benefit of having a higher balloon on a lease purchase with a balloon is that your monthly figures are going to come down. So in essence, all you're paying is that gap. Your deposit is 11 grand, that's out of the way. The final residual value, 40% out of the way. You're paying that gap in between.
Yeah. And so how does it work with like cars that are predicted to go up in value then? Because I know, for example, SVs, I think at one point, maybe a couple of years ago, they were hovering maybe around 220, 230 sort of mark.
Yeah, you could have picked up that sort of money. Yeah.
And how much are they now? How much are they going for?
The cheapest one online is about 270.
So that's almost like a 60 grand increase, essentially.
There you go.
So
And who called it a year ago?
you did, indeed you did. So, but then how does it work in terms of that? I mean, can you put that in the finance calculator and say this car's going to be worth X when it comes to selling it?
So that's in the best interest of the buyer. The banks are always going to be very, very clever with their lending. They're never going to think about our investment cars, they go up. So they're not going to turn around and say, do you know what, I'm going to put a ridiculous balloon on it, give you whatever you want, just take the car.
Yeah.
Banks are always going to be very careful. Now, what they will do is on some cars, if it's seen as an investment opportunity, like an SV, they'll give you a bigger balloon. They're not going to go crazy and say a 90% balloon or a 100% balloon. Your car's not going to lose any money after 4 years.
Yeah.
They have to be careful. But they may be able to give you a 70% balloon on an SV in comparison to something like an F8 that you know is going to lose some money. They'll only give a 60% balloon. So yeah, small differences will also make a big difference.
But and I think that the final deciding factor to make it all happen, what if someone hasn't got the credit score for it? Then you end the conversation there and then, or?
Then, no, I wouldn't end the conversation there. If you haven't got the credit score for it, then we've got a panel of lenders. So our partners, we use JBR and they have very, very good residuals. So that's the main reason of us putting finance deals through them. But if your credit score isn't so great and isn't so strong, then we'd go to some other lenders. So we'll go to some people who might offer money, but at a much higher interest rate. So it's always still possible. It's always possible.
I think I need to find a GTS for about 70 grand. And then monthly payments, we're looking about £1,000 a month, something like that, roughly.
£1,000 a month, yeah. Or you look at the investment opportunity on the 50th edition and think, hold on a second, I might lose 20 grand there.
Have you just got that in stock?
Yeah, that car.
Is that a matte black one?
Yeah.
Did you buy it off someone in West London?
Yeah. I sold the car to him.
Gafe?
No. His name's, I won't say it on camera, but I'll tell you afterwards.
Yeah, no, I was thinking, because I know one of my
He
friends
lives in Chelsea.
Okay, I don't even know where he lives, to be fair. But yeah, one of my mates is selling his GTC as well, so I was thinking 2 and 2 together might be that one. But anyway, yeah, considering that, I mean, for the people that have seen the other video where we done the walk around, they would have seen that not can you just buy your car from here, but you know, you can fully customize it. Like how Miss done, for example, he bought his 720S and you had the whole launch party where you guys wrapped it in khaki green, had the carbon on there, you done the full works on that car. So why that? This episode is brought to you by STITCHFIX. STITCHFIX is for men and women, making online shopping for clothes a lot easier. There's been times, you know, where you're shopping online, you think you found something, it comes to your house and you realize it's the wrong size, wrong color, it's not everything you saw that was on the website. Or sometimes you can't even find the clothes that you like. This is where STITCHFIX comes into play. It's quite simple, to be fair. All you gotta do is go into STITCHFIX, create your profile, select your style, your color, your taste, and your budget. Once you've selected that, a box comes to your house a few days later with all the clothes inside of it. In my experience, I was quite impressed, to be fair, because what I'm wearing right now and what you're seeing is essentially what I'd go out and buy anyway. So the fact that the ease of use that this came to my house and I didn't even have to go out or do any online shopping just makes life 10 times easier. And the best thing is there's no subscription service, so you're not tied into anything. You literally simply schedule it as you need it. So it's simple. To get started, all you got to do is go to stitchfix.co.uk/CEOCAST and get 20% off when you keep all all 5 items. And they're now waiving off the £10 styling charge on your first delivery. Once again, that's stitchfix.co.uk/CEOCAST to get 20% off when you keep all 5 items from your fix. Now, let's get straight back to the episode.
So this is our USP. Now, we're not only just the largest supercar showroom in Europe, buying and selling some of the best supercars in the world. We're a one-stop shop. So you come to us, yes, if you want to buy a car and if you want to sell a supercar or a luxury car, but you'll come to us for detailing work. We use G-Technique to ceramic coat and detail with skilled technicians. We protect the cars with paint protection film. We've got a customs house, GV Customs, where we can wrap cars, install body kits. We've got a servicing centre in-house, so we inspect all of our cars that come in stock. Goes through military-like inspections prior to us even accepting the car in stock. And before the car goes out, it goes through a very, very thorough PDI check. But also, third parties or external customers can come to us with their car and say, no, I don't want to sell it, I don't want to buy it, but I want to give it to you to wrap. Now, that is still qualified information. That's a qualified customer. So if he doesn't want to sell it, he might not want to sell it that day, but I'll have a customer come in 2 months saying, I want a red SVJ. Now, I know a guy with a red SVJ because he wanted to wrap it a few months ago. So we've got access to more data in the supercar community than any of our competitors. And that's why I'd like to think we're winning.
And that's why you guys can source the cars that people request. For example, if I said to you, George, this is a fact, I want a yellow GTS. You could probably, someone who's got a yellow.
I know, a solar beam yellow GTS,
The solar beam, that's exactly what I want. So, I mean, if I said to you, George, look, I want this, would I have to give you a date, or would you say, the guy's not selling it at the moment, I'll come back to you on that, or?
All you need to tell me is, I've got this is my budget, and I'm good to go. Leave the rest to me. Usually 24, 48 hours, you'll have the car parked up here in the showroom.
Yeah, I'm sold.
Now, if you remember the last time you came here, you said I put up a story that I was looking for an AMG GTR Pro.
Yeah.
That car turned up 24 hours later, and now I can release this. It's Ruben Neves, Premiership football player, who's driving that car around.
Yeah. So he's still got it, yeah?
Still got it. Although,
that's crazy.
He is asking us that he might want to sell it because he's looking to upgrade to a black series.
What do you do? Do you call these people and say, yo, look, I've got a better deal for you, I've got a better car for you, or something like that? Even though they might not want to sell it, do you convince them to be like, look, time to change? This
is what I'd say to the sales team all the time, that prospecting is super important. So maintaining a relationship with a customer is more important than attending to new inquiries. You've done 90% of the work by selling that customer a car in the past, or selling him some sort of service, or buying off him. So you've won that person's trust. Now, to get repetitive business from him should be your aim. So you should constantly be thinking, how can I now get him to either sell that car or buy another car? So just friendly phone calls, meet up for a drink, go for dinner, keep it formal, keep it casual, try and be a friend, look out for their best intentions. At the same time, be very respectful that it is a business transaction as well. So keep that formal sort of business-like relationship as well. Exactly that, finding the balance is important. But for example, you're friendly enough with a customer to know that he's got a car. I just had someone contact us saying that he's looking for a G63. I was just telling you a little while ago. Well, I won't say who it is at the moment. He hasn't taken delivery, but someone we both know said he's looking for one, and 24 hours later managed to find one through my phone book. Literally just going through the phone book saying, I know someone who's got that. Give me a minute.
What do you do? Do you name them as, like, for example, Raheem, GT3, DMO, SV?
I do that sometimes, but because I try and keep in touch with most of my customers,
anyway.
I know what cars they got, I know what cars they're after, so I sort of automatically think, hold on, let me give Raheem a call, he's got this.
Yeah, fair enough. So now that we know, how GV works, what you guys offer, and how you're able to retain and keep customers on a, daily basis pretty much, let's dive it well back. So, George, how old are you now, if you don't mind saying?
I am 29, turning 30 this year.
Turning 30 this year. So, you're still very young at that point. So let's talk about the whole story of GVE, how it came about, and how you got into the position you are in today.
So GVE started 15 or 16 years ago, and David Roy is the founder, the owner of the company. And mainly we're set up as an export company, so sending cars out abroad. And then, David found a hole in the market in the UK and opened up a showroom, which I showed you last time. It was just around the corner.
That's where our detailing place.
That's our detailing customs unit now. So that used to be the showroom. And just when we started focusing on the UK market, I was scrolling through Facebook. I was in my final year at uni.
So you would have been, what, about 21, 22 roughly?
I can't remember the age now, yeah, but roughly that's 23, something like that. Yeah. And I was scrolling through Facebook. I was doing my final exams and I was thinking, do you know what, I saw an advert come up and it said, supercar purchasing assistant wanted part-time. I was thinking, this is perfect. I was studying law. You know, sometimes our Asian parents are, they try and push you into education, say, don't worry about anything else, just go for a degree. Which I had done, and thought I'd get a part-time job at the same time. I've always had a passion for cars, loved cars. So I saw it and I thought, this is a win-win. Came, applied for the job, got it, and from then just went from strength to strength. I was a purchasing assistant, then started out purchasing my purchasing manager, then became purchasing manager, then started going to sales, then outsold my sales manager, and then became sales manager, and now I'm a sales director, so with a share in the company. So it's been a really good journey, really, really strong journey. And the one thing I would say about my journey is it wouldn't have gone as strong as it did, and I wouldn't be sort of relishing off the opportunity I had been given that time if I didn't have the passion for what I do. Now I wake up in the morning and I think deals, I think cars, I think which people can I excite, which people can I get happy with, which sort of people can I get happy with a deal today. Yeah. That's what gets me up in the morning. And I don't think, what's the time? It's 6 o'clock. I need to leave. I need to get out of it. I'm thinking, no, listen, sales is a full-time job. I will take phone calls at midnight. I'll take phone calls 2 o'clock in the morning if I had to. I've been in this very waiting room with PPL. Shout out PPL. He was buying his third or fourth car off me at the time.
Who, JD?
JD, yeah. He used to do a podcast with
I've done a podcast with him. That's how I know his name.
Oh, really?
This is ages ago. Must have been, I think it was 2020, something like that.
Oh, and you went for a drive in the 675?
No, he had a 720S then, I believe.
Okay.
He had his Porsche.
Yeah.
I don't know if he still got that or not. But yeah,
Turbo S.
Yeah,
no,
Turbo S.
that.
Yeah, okay, so there you go, gone full circle. You were here with JD.
Yeah, that's just one example. I was here, when I sold him the SV, I was here with him and his dad, having a drink at the bar and closing that deal over a glass of whiskey at 1 o'clock in the morning.
At 1 in the morning?
Yeah.
Was it just you guys here?
Yeah, it's just us. And to be fair, some of the best deals are done like that when you're relaxed.
Yeah.
You're in a relaxed setting and you're just having friendly banter, speaking. You're not force selling anything to anyone. You're almost giving them advice and just having a very chilled and relaxed scenario. And that was the first time. And then JD came, bought 675, bought other cars, AMG, GTC, loads, and then bought the Rolls-Royce Dawn. And once again, this time his dad wasn't here, but he was here, busting my balls over the price, but stayed on for a couple of hours and ended up buying that as well, yeah.
Bloody hell, yeah. That's
this time over a glass of vodka.
So George, being 30 years old, you mentioned that you went from purchasing assistant to purchasing manager, sales assistant, sales manager, now you're sales director. How did you then get to in the position where you now have shares of the company? Did you show David that, look, I'm the bread and butter of this business, essentially, or how did it all work?
So I'd never think like that. I would never think that I'm the bread and butter of the company. I'd never think like that. That is, I find, a completely wrong way of thinking. You should always be, how can I better myself to be even better? Now, we did everything that we've done. We've come to the position that we're at collectively as a company and as a team. So what I will say is I am one of the best at what I do. We are running one of the best teams. And the reason behind that is because of passion, dedication, hard work, putting your life and soul into it. And I find the fact that I wake up in the morning and I'm thinking about cars and deals continuously throughout the day, and then it comes to the end of the day and I'm still going to sleep dreaming about cars and deals, it's my life. I'm constantly revolving around it, which is why essentially I then grew into this role. Now, the reason about shares and so on is me and David have a very close relationship. I consider him a brother. He's done a lot for me to get me to where I am at the moment, and I owe him a lot for that. And he's done a lot for the 70 other staff members that work here.
Yeah,
it's a massive operation.
There's 70 staff members that work here?
Yeah, probably if not more.
Yeah,
it's a massive operation that one man himself has brought up and is running at the moment. And I thank him for the opportunity that I've been given. I've unlocked potential inside myself that I didn't realize I had. And yeah, I have to say that my success is owed to him because he's given me the chance. But yeah, very happy with where I am, but this is just the beginning. We've got a long way to go.
Yeah, fair play.
Long way to go.
I would say, I've started thinking like this in terms of cars and stuff, yeah, and I want to know your opinion on it. As much as it is nice driving, let's just say you pull up to the club in the Bugatti, yeah, beautiful, everyone's going to stare at you and all that sort of stuff. But I'd say recently I've been thinking about cars being more of a networking tool, right? Because you pull up to these places, instantly it's opened you doors for people to come up to you, or you go up to people and say, oh, what do you do for a living, sort of thing. You connect like that. Whereas sometimes if you don't have that car, I've been to some places where you go to supercar meets and whatnot, and sometimes it's a bit harder to break the ice. So I feel like a car's a networking tool in that sense. So I want to know your opinion on that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You hit the nail on the head. Cars...
It's almost like investing into your network.
Exactly
you
that.
Buy a car to do it in some cases, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, people want to be talking to like-minded people and they want to share their passion with other people who have the same passion as them. So supercars, at the end of the day, it's a passion. It's a hobby.
Yeah.
You don't need a supercar in your life to survive. You buy it because you're successful and you want to show it as a status symbol of wealth and success.
Yeah, more time people who buy the cars are petrol heads. They're enthusiastic about the cars that they buy and the way to drive it and whatnot.
Exactly that. Now, you'd obviously want to speak to other people who share that passion. So yes, you'll speak to other people who also own supercars. So if you go to car meets, then yes, you're absolutely right. You are going to be searching for other people who own supercars. So it is very important if you are looking at networking, if you are looking at going out, you have something that you can share with those people. And I'll give you an example. For me personally, yes, it's very important for networking. So I'm driving at the moment a McLaren 720S. Now, one night I was out at Monkey House in Mayfair, just having some drinks, and I met someone. He was there with his girlfriend, just drinking, and that very night he saw the car and he's like, oh yeah, and he's like, I recognize you guys from GVE. He said, I'm actually, I've just sold my company. I've just sold it for well over £6 million. They're paying me tomorrow.
6 billion or 6 million?
6 million, 6 million.
Okay, yeah.
So it was a come-up company. For someone to say that I've just sold my company for 6 million there and then,
Yeah.
okay, it's not the biggest amount, but still, for
for
overnight
sure.
sale, it's still good money. So I'm thinking, okay, good opportunity. And here's my business card, let's talk.
Yeah.
A week later, he bought a brand new G63 off me.
Yeah.
And then bought a Hurricane Evo Spider the same week. And now I just got a phone call from him the other day saying he's looking for a Bugatti Chiron.
Okay.
So the bigger picture is, no, you didn't just sell the company for £6 million.
Yeah.
That's one company he sold. He's got a property portfolio of well over 100 million in the UK.
Yeah. That company is just essentially almost like because essentially people who buy these cars, they don't have just one business. The entrepreneurs, they have many different businesses, property portfolios, crypto, whatever it may be. There's so many different aspects. So you probably saw the opportunity and thought, okay, this guy's got some money to play around with, essentially, right?
Exactly that, yeah. At the end of the day, people have this bad perception, I'd say this misconception of salespeople, thinking that we're leeches.
Yeah.
We just want to go out there and leech onto whoever's got some money. We only want to benefit ourselves. I want to try and break and detach away from that stigma. The way I like to run the sales team down here is that we're personal. Exactly relaying back to the first point, is that we want to create a rapport with our customers. We want to create a relationship with our customers.
Yeah.
We're not selling them things, we're giving them advice. Now, these cars will sell themselves. However, to push people over the edge and push them into the right direction, you need to have knowledge, and you need to also be giving them honest and truthful advice. If I sit here and tell you about a car, you'd automatically be able to tell me that, no, I think this guy's talking shit. He's trying to push me into that car because it's more margin than that.
You're not a pushy salesman at all. Even the times I've mentioned to you previously, whether it's DMs or the last video I've done that, yo, George, I want a GTS. You've never been in my face about it.
I hate that style of selling.
Yeah. I mean, that's what makes me as a customer comfortable, to be like, yeah, you know what, George is the guy to buy off.
So persistence is key. Don't get me wrong. Without persistence, without staying on top of them, you'll never get the deal.
Yeah.
But it's a balance. You want to make sure that you're making them feel relaxed. Make them feel like they're making the right decision, and don't force them into thinking they're making the right decision. Let them think that themselves, and automatically they'll come into a place and themselves say, that's it, I want to do it, let's do it.
Now, you mentioned that you drive a McLaren 720S, right? I want to ask you, do you feel like it's necessary for you to drive a 720S, a supercar, or is it, of course it's probably passion as well, but do you feel like it helps with the job role that you have? Because, you know, if anyone who follows on your Instagram sees that, you know, you do go partying, clubbing, drinking, wherever it may be, and obviously you're probably pulling up in the McLaren. So, do you think that is your way in of selling to people, other people in the club, maybe? Have you had times like that where you've sold to people in the club?
Yeah. No, we've done deals. Work
don't stop.
Clubs. I sold a car to a client of mine in Monaco. I was there for the Grand Prix.
Yeah.
And absolutely, I wouldn't give too much away, but yeah, I was pretty smashed at the time and concluded a deal on, at that time, a £220,000 F12, which was literally done over some drinks. You bank transferred the money there and then, and the car was in London. So that was good. That's one example. I know now the owner of some of the biggest clubs in London through networking, going to his clubs and then meeting other like-minded people who want cars. I was at Rain, and Ryan Bish is the owner of these clubs, or the co-owner of the clubs, and he introduced me to, you probably would have heard, quite a famous brand called Trapstar.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And one of the directors, Lee, he introduced me to him, and from there, a week on, he ended up buying a Lamborghini Urus off me. So networking is key. Going out and making yourself known is also key. But
so what? Lee Trapstar bought the Lamborghini Urus?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he bought a Urus off us. So I sold that to him 3 weeks ago now, I think. And that was all through the introduction that Ryan Bish made, the owner of Rain.
Did he brand up the car with Trapstar or anything like that? Or?
Not that car, because that's his personal car. He's letting his missus drive it. But the other day he came with Blade Brown with his G63, and we branded that up for a release that he's doing today.
Joints?
Yeah.
With K-Trap in it?
Yeah, there you go.
But so do you feel like in that case, you know, it's necessary for you to have the 720S, almost like a showcase of the cars that you have and what you do? Yeah,
I mean, if you asked me this 2 years ago when I was just about to pull the trigger on it, actually it's a funny story here. Just before the 720, I had a 570S Spider. That was my first supercar.
Oh, was it? Okay, I thought the 720S was...
The 570S Spider in Ultra Viola with a bright red interior. It was an 80-mile delivery mileage, brand new 570S Spider. Thought nothing can go wrong. Drove it, loved it. A week later, parked the car up and it set on fire.
What? How?
Literally drove it, went out, grabbed some lunch, came back, parked the car up. I was standing there in the showroom and someone came running down.
What, did it set fire in the showroom?
Not in the showroom, I parked it up outside.
Yeah.
And someone came running up to me saying, your car's on fire. And essentially I thought, you're talking shit, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And no, I see him running out with a fire extinguisher. So I'm standing with my customer. I said, sorry, mate, just give me a minute. Had a look out the window and it's up in flames.
Well,
so not scorching flames, but it had thick black smoke coming out the engine bay. So what happened is apparently there's a resistor in there which was meant to turn the battery power off. I don't know the whole technical side of things, but when I turned the car off, one of the resistors stayed on, which overheated and then went too hot, which caught onto the turbo pipe went on fire, and the car was undrivable.
So what made you trust McLaren and get a 720S after that?
I love McLarens.
Yeah, but after that experience, surely you'd think, fuck McLaren, like, this is headache.
Anything can happen in life.
A lot of McLaren owners I've spoken to have said, nah.
So listen, I sell more McLarens than probably anyone else in the country. I'd put it down there and out there now, I'll probably sell more McLarens than main dealer, used car sellers sell.
Yeah.
So, yes, sometimes they have their issues, but there's a lot of reliable ones out there. And when these cars drive good, there's nothing quicker than a McLaren. Nothing that makes you feel more connected to the road than a McLaren. That car is designed to be track focused. Their whole heritage comes from F1.
Yeah.
Now I know Ferrari are like that, but they're sort of stepped away a bit and they're more about making profits and making show-off style cars. But McLaren is the ultimate driving experience.
McLaren is completely different because my friend, I don't know if I mentioned to you that he's got 570S as well.
I think I saw him at that event.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so you saw him, So I drove his McLaren, like, even though it's only got 570 horsepower, whatever it is, that way that car feels on the road, and I drove it, is unreal. It's like a go-kart.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking the power of like an M3 if it was tuned, but it doesn't feel anything like that.
It's feels because of how light they are.
Yeah.
So think about it. McLaren, the way they work is there's 3 setups. You've got the Sports Series, Super Series, and Hyper Series. The 570 will be part of the Sports Series. Now, I thought, if that's the Sports Series, what the hell is a Super Series like? And the way my mind works is I always want the next best thing. I'm always achieving the best. I'm trying to go for the best thing. If I've got it, then I want the next best thing. I want to go higher and higher. So I looked at the 720 and I was like, can I make it work? Yes, I'm going to make it work. Let's do it. Pull the trigger. And that car, I've almost had it now for 2 years and not about a year and a half now. And touch wood,
it's been good.
Small niggly problems that cars do, but it's been good. Yeah, it's been really good to me.
Yeah, it sounds like it's time to chop it in soon.
I won't say anything yet, but I am looking at a... let's not give it away. But it's going to be big.
On the topic of cars, of course, I want to kind of understand the used car market. Now, for people who've been looking at Auto Trader and all that stuff, there's clearly a big price increase since COVID, essentially, of 30% on average, roughly. I want to say. Yeah,
depending on the car. Yeah.
What's the reason for that, and when do you think it would go down? Or do you think it would go down?
This is a good point, to be fair. Now, a lot of people have their own reasoning behind why is the market like this. So in my eyes, I'm not going to say this is the absolute truth and this is what it is, because at the end of the day, it's an opinion. No one knows the actual truth. They can only make a calculated guess. So my opinion is the fact that new cars are almost impossible to get a hold of at the moment.
Yeah.
For example, a G63, you go there right now and they tell you we're not even accepting orders.
Yeah.
You try and buy an F8.
They've got like a 2-year wait list on them, right?
Yeah, because they're waitlist and they've got such a big backlog, they're not taking any new orders. So, and they've upped the price by £10,000-12,000 on the G63.
At the main dealers themselves?
Brand new,
Okay, cool.
So, for used car sellers, the G63 is amazing.
Yeah.
We're selling a ton of them because you can't get a new one. Now, the same thing happens to the predecessors. So, for example, the Hurricane Performantes have gone up in value massively. We're buying Performantes for more than what we sold it for a year or 2 years ago.
Before they were for, how much were they worth?
Put it this way, I sold a Performante in yellow for about 165,000 in
Perfect.
2019.
Oh.
In 2019, I sold it for about 165,000 and that was good money at the time.
Yeah, that's what normal Hurricane like. It's a nice spec up one. That's the 610 basically.
There you go. But at the time, they just weren't moving. They weren't selling for love nor money. I don't think it was just us. It was the whole market was stale. They just weren't moving. So I sold that car for 165. We just paid the other day £180,000 for that very car with 2,000 more additional miles. And pretty much nearly agreed a deal. Now, the reason behind why the prices have gone up, you can't buy the next new thing. Go to Lambo and say, okay, I want an Evo. Some people who had it in their head thinking, I'm not going to go for the Performante, let's wait for the new model to come out, the Evo. Go to Lambo and try and buy an Evo. They won't sell you one. They stop production on the Spiders, Coupes, massive backlog to end up getting one. Those are actually selling for overs. And then you put your hat on and you start thinking, why am I going to spend that much money on a new Evo that's going to lose money when I can go for a Performante that's a lot more raw, that's a more track-focused car, that's a bit more special, it's not a standard run-of-the-mill production car. Let's go for that. And all it takes is a couple of cars to go off the market and that's it.
Yeah.
It feeds into the frenzy and the whole market starts stirring up. So if you get 2 Performantes going one weekend, suddenly someone jumps at the opportunity like us. We'll be looking at the market constantly and we'll say, do you know what? Let's put this one up now and put it up for £5,000 more than what this car's up for because it will go for that. And you're almost dictating the price of what the market should be, which we can do and we're lucky enough to do. Because out of Performantes, I think there's maybe 10 online at the moment and we've got 4 of them.
For sale?
For sale.
Okay.
So we can dictate the market.
You've got half the market essentially there.
Exactly.
Right
and
here.
we can create trends, which is what we've been doing over the past year. So, that's one reason. Another reason that I found out as to why new car sales are getting delayed is, unfortunately, with this whole issue that's happening with Ukraine and Russia, it is benefiting us as used car dealers.
How so?
Now, I only found this out recently, but the majority of wiring looms and ECU chips are actually produced in between Ukraine and Poland.
Okay.
So the likes of Porsche have had to close their factory for 8 weeks. The factory where they're building new cars, they've had to close it for 8 weeks because they've got such a backlog on their wiring looms and ECUs coming that they said that we're just building up a whole...
You're building up everything else, you can't even complete the car.
Exactly.
Basically.
So they've got a whole dump yard of parts over there for new cars.
Yeah.
And they can't even build those cars because the wiring looms aren't there.
So how is the issue with Russia and Ukraine affecting it if it's made between Ukraine and Poland?
So Ukraine at the moment is closed. Nothing's happening there. So the factories that are in Ukraine are non-existent.
Everything shut down.
So let's say overnight everything happens, Putin vanishes. Well, I'm not going to get into politics, but let's say it's all resolved, Ukraine opens up. These factories aren't going to open up overnight and all the staff are going to walk back in and things are going to be running smoothly again. We're talking
it's
about...
just like COVID, when that happened, everyone, work from home sort of thing.
Yeah.
Even now, not everyone is back at the offices. They're bringing them slowly back in.
Now you're talking about COVID, where it was an actual invisible disease going around.
Yeah.
We're talking about a war in this place. It's terrible what's going on over there. I think they've got a good year to 2 years. I mean, I hope it's not that long, just for their sake, but that's going to take them a long time to recover and go back to the state of what they were before this whole situation happened. So, yeah, maybe, these guys are going to find a fix and go to another factory where they can get their wiring looms. They'll always find a way. But in this moment, that's caused a massive delay for new cars coming, which has picked the prices up of older cars. So then, coming back to my point, if Performantes are going up in value, then the predecessors are going to go up. The Hurricanes are going to be going up. The Gallardos go up. The Aventadors go up. I mean, that's happening all the way around. So I can give you unlimited examples. Yeah.
But then the interesting question is, when do they go back down? Do you see them going back down?
I read an article the other day. Someone sent it to me, actually. It's from a competitor. I'm not going to name him.
Yeah.
It was a very interesting article, and he predicted...
Off camera, who's it? Okay, yeah, cool.
He predicted that whatever's happening at the moment with this bubble that he thinks we're in is about to burst and prices are going to fall. I couldn't stop laughing when I read that. And I know the very reason why he said that was because when he goes to buy a car, he can kick them in the nuts, get it for a very cheap price because he just made everyone think that the prices are going to fall. Now, this is what gives a salesperson a bad reputation. You don't try and use what's happening in the industry to give yourself a better position and a benefit. These guys are what's making, these customers are your business. They are helping your business run. They are the people who are generating the income for your business.
Yeah, for
if
sure.
you look after them, they'll look after you. So don't try and kick them in the nuts and pay very, very cheap money for their car, only for you then to take it and advertise it for top whack money and make a 20-30% margin on the car, where normally you'd be going for a 10% margin. That is wrong. That person would never want to deal with you again. Yeah. Now, for instance, if I go to my customer and I say, listen, the market's on the up. I sold an SV a year ago to DMO, went to DMO this year, and I said, the market's on the up. It's worth probably about 30 grand more. Think about selling it. And yeah, you listen to the advice. I won't release what's happened yet, but it's the friendly advice, which is what keeps you in their good books. Now, you might get rich with one deal, but that's not going to help your business get rich. It's not going to help your business sustain its productivity and where it should be going forward in the future. The only way you can do that is if your customer feels comfortable enough to be dealing with you month after month. These guys change cars every 3 months.
Yeah, for sure.
You don't want to sell them a car and then after 3 months they go to your competitor because they think that you just tried to fuck them over.
Yeah, you've got to keep it sweet with everyone.
Yeah.
I had this talk and a theory, like me and my friend were having this conversation about car prices and all that stuff, and our theory was that maybe that car prices stay at this price because people are now used to paying these prices of cars. So dealers, whether it be second-hand dealers or whether it be, when you're buying the car brand new, thinking maybe keep it at that price because people are used to paying it anyway. So what's the point of bringing it back down? Because essentially, maybe so there might be more profit margin in that sense. If people are used to it already, then
it's true. I mean, at the end of the day, when you take a car into stock, you need to look at the market. You're not going to advertise it for a price that you make up and sell it for that price. It needs to be guided by where the market is. But it's a very valid point you made with the increase of the market. What people forget is the market dropped drastically during COVID. The whole country came to a standstill. Cars went selling, the property market went flat, businesses were closed. The country came, and for the first time that I've ever seen with my eyes, and I'm pretty sure it's happened in
it dropped to its knees, basically.
It's dropped to its knees. It is on its knees, not doing anything. So naturally, the market's on its knees. Cars were going for dirt cheap. Now, since then, we've seen a massive increase in prices.
Yeah.
And what people are forgetting is that prior to the pandemic, we've gone through Brexit.
Yeah.
Our country is now no longer part of the EU community, meaning that most of these supercars, for example, the Lamborghini was produced in Italy, the Bugatti produced in France. These cars, we're now having to pay higher taxes on them. Mercedes, it's gone up by £12,000 for a G63. We're paying more taxes and duty on the car which means that it's going to drive the price up of their used cars as well. So because we're no longer part of the EU community, these car prices are going up more brand new, which is driving the prices of used cars up as well. So it's the market readjusting itself. Now, you may have heard me refer to the term balloon, that this market's in a bit of a bubble, it's in a balloon, where almost it's going to pop and the prices are going to drop.
Down,
That happened in about 2014, 2015, where especially classic cars, 355s, 512s, people were going crazy. They saw the increase on the F40s go from 400,000 to 800,000. Saw F50s go from 1 million to 2 million. And everyone started buying classic cars, 355s, 360s, manual Gallardos, thinking, do you know what? I want to get on this trend. I want to buy a classic car. I want it to increase in money and I want to be rich overnight.
Yeah.
That's when the bubble bursted, because that's a false bubble.
False reality.
That's a false reaction that people are making up themselves, thinking, hold on, that F40's just gone up massively, that F50's gone up. Let me try and guess the next trend. So classic cars must be going up. Let's buy a 355 for £100,000. Surely that's the next car to go for £200,000.
Yeah, and it wasn't.
It's not, because if you're not educated on the market, listen, us as car dealers, and me personally, I'm so invested into the car market, I study it day in, day out. I've got a studying background. I went to uni and I'm constantly thinking, need to research. The only way you can be the best at what you're doing is if you're researching and constantly in the game.
Yeah, and know your game
and
off the back of your hand.
Off the back of your hand, exactly that.
Yeah.
So looking at the market, is the 355 going to go to 200,000 when they made God knows how many of them in comparison?
It's not a limited run or anything.
Exactly.
It's just an old car, old
exactly
Ferrari.
That. So no, it doesn't work like that. You don't make up trends yourself.
Yeah.
Now this time it's not a trend. It's the market readjusting itself. These prices haven't been made up out of the blue.
Yeah.
Brand new cars have gone up in price because they're having to pay more duty. There's a fact that lies behind it. We're out of the EU community. Brexit's happened. So people forgot about that with the pandemic, with the prices dropping. Now they're going back up, but the market's readjusting itself. So going back to that point, anyone who read that article, don't listen to it. Don't sell your car for stupidly cheap.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be saying that because I'd love to buy it for stupidly cheap, but don't do it. You can get top money for your car right now. We're not in any sort of bubble balloon phase.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. When it came to me, I don't know if I mentioned to you before, I had a C63, 15 plate W205.
Nice.
Yeah, so I bought that at the time in 2019 for 30.
Yeah.
So I thought, good deal, good car. It was from Merck in Oxfordshire, one of them. So anyway, I got it there. And then when it came to selling it, I sold it in 2020 March for 30. So I was like, this is brilliant. I didn't lose any money. Little did I know, I shot myself in the foot there and then. Obviously, no one could have predicted, but if quick story time. I met the owner of my car after he bought it after me in Dubai. He came up to me saying, I'm a massive fan of your podcast, I own your car. I was like, what are you talking about? He showed me the plate, OE15 and all that sort of stuff. He's like, yeah, I sold it for 38. I was like, you're taking a piss. And I would look at all trader now.
5,000 miles in it.
Yeah. And I was just like, nah, I could have kept that car, made £8,000 profit and enjoyed the whole thing, put another 10k miles in it. But yeah, I was taking a piss. It's crazy.
No one knew it. No one, I mean, at the time I was telling people to sell cars when Brexit was happening because everything was falling to shit. And it was like, okay, let's get out. God knows what's happening with the market. It's falling.
Yeah.
Which at the time it did. No one's got a crystal ball where they can determine the future and think this is going to happen. You go with what the market's doing and you act accordingly. So at the time, the market was dropping. Get out before it drops even further.
Yeah.
So I helped some customers get out of their cars without them making a loss. But I think back to it now, that shit sold an SVJ for £320,000.
How much is it worth now?
If they had that car right now, I'd get 380 grand for it.
Okay.
So
that's a lot.
Big differences, but you can't beat yourself up about it because...
How much are SVJ Roadsters?
But depending on spec and mileage and so on, ranging from 420 to 500.
So why is it I've seen, I don't know if, is it wrong if I've seen a couple of them for like near $1 million or something like that, or?
Nah, no way.
I don't know
if you saw one for close to $1 million, that person's on crack.
Yeah, I think I was reading somewhere on YouTube or something like that. It was like, it was someone saying it's worth $1 million and I was like.
Oh, abroad?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay,
is it different?
Potentially, different market. So this is my whole sort of thing that I was talking about taxes and duties.
Yeah.
The UK used to be the cheapest place to buy supercars from. At a time when we were part of the EU community, we were the cheapest market in the world. So, for example, an Aventador over here, which was £200,000, in Australia, costs $2 million. In America, costs almost $800,000.
That's interesting because even when I went to Dubai recently, I just thought, let me just check car prices. It actually shocked me when I saw an 18-plate facelift SVR for about 55 grand pounds. I was like, oh my days, we're getting bumped in the UK differently.
We have to compare ourselves to right-hand drive markets.
Yeah.
So there's only a select few countries out there that do right-hand drive: Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, India, Pakistan, Australia, New Zealand, Africa, some places in Africa. Now, our market's a lot smaller for right-hand drive cars, but the left-hand drive market is massive. And Dubai, you tell me now, why is Dubai so popular with entrepreneurs?
Tax relief, or it used to be anyway, 5% now, I believe.
Very, very low duties and taxes.
Compared to here,
which means you buy cars over there, very, very low duties and taxes. It's going to be one of the cheapest places.
Yeah, and it's without baiting too many people out, a lot of people have offshore accounts.
There you go.
As well, and just sorting it all out over there. It's actually crazy when you think about it. It's mad.
Yeah.
We mentioned earlier that you sold cars to Miss DMO. So I want to know, how is it all working with these guys? Are these guys, because essentially DMO, if he's watching this, he knows himself, he's plug king, essentially. Like, the guy brings him business from everywhere. Now, by him, plugging GV, plugging yourself, have you had any sales at the back of him?
Loads.
So I want to know, what are the rates that, without talking specific prices, of course, are these guys like influencers and celebrities getting special rates, like discounted rates in terms of like an influencer marketing package, or how does that work in that sense?
Never done that. We don't believe in having to do favors for people to give us favors. If we provide them a good enough service, they'll want people to come to us.
Yeah.
So, for example, with DMO, it was a natural business transaction. His manager.
What was the first car that you sold him?
It was the SV Roadster.
Oh, it was the SV Roadster.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So it was his business manager Cam got in touch with us and said he wanted to look at some cars. We're going back and forward. It was a 720, then a 765. And then just pure friendly advice, looking at cars. I was saying, why are you looking at a 720S when it hasn't got potential of going up in money, not too much? 765, which you're going to be paying extreme overs for, you'll lose money on. Go for an SV Roadster that's got everything you want from a car. It's got the noise, it's got the thrill, it's got the wow factor, and the investment opportunity is there. It's limited, it's going to be going up. It's on its knees at the moment, guaranteed to go up. At that time, I could guarantee it because I was so invested into the market and so clued up that I knew there's no way it can go down from where it was.
Yeah.
A year later, it's gone up. And he saw that automatically when he bought the car, that he got it at good money. He got it at very good spec. And he could see everyone was telling him, saying that's a really good buy. Looking at the market, other people were buying SVs. They were going, prices going up. And naturally he came back a couple of months later and said, you know what, Mrs. wants a car, and sold her a G63. He didn't want to go anywhere else because why would he when he got the correct service from us? We don't pay people to promote us. Never have done.
Never needed to.
We haven't ever given any cars for free. We've never done anything like that. Hand on heart can say that everything we've done is God's honest truth, a pure business transaction. We provide the absolute best service, which would then make them want to come back to us.
You've kept it authentic.
So even the likes of Miss Wes Nelson, footballers, we invest heavily in marketing, which is what gets the brand name out there, where we're present on every magazine, where we're within the footballer community by going in sports magazines.
And surely when these footballers go for training or for a game, whatever it is, their players, or what do they call it? I'm not really clued up in football.
Training ground.
Yeah. The other people there must be like, where did you get your car from?
Exactly
can you hook me up? Yeah.
So my first footballer client was Wilfred Zaha.
Yeah.
At the time, he was at Man United. And he had a really bad experience with another car dealer. Now, I won't name him, but he's a very well-known supercar dealer, and just said to me that I bought a Gallardo Superleggera and I was at Old Trafford and something happened to the car. I think the gearbox stopped working and he just refused to help me. He didn't go back to him, didn't even call him, rang us and said, I've got an Aventador now that I bought from another dealer, but I'm looking to sell it. Seeing you guys are pretty out there, you're everywhere. Let me know. So that's how I got in touch with Zaha, got his Aventador in, sold it, then put him into a Ghost, a Series 2 Ghost from his Wraith. And God knows how many cars we went through, wraps in cars, we went through loads of them. He then put me in touch with Aaron Wan-Bissaka, who's now Man United's right back.
Yep.
and then he done that custom build V-Class. So completely custom, built from scratch. And that was a GV VIP class van that we did for him. From there, we've then done Connor Wickham. He's another Crystal Palace player. We've then worked with Ruben Neves, John Terry. I don't want to say all the names, but we've dealt with football royalty. And the only reason is we're jumping between the footballing community and especially the Premier League. I mean, we're in conversation with Ronaldo for a car.
Oh, is it?
Without giving too much away.
Yeah.
But we're in conversation. We're trying to do a car for Ronaldo. And it's only because it's a reflection of our service. It's how have we treated these clients. Word of mouth is our best sales tool. Word of mouth from an actual buyer, not from our sales team, but from someone who's experienced purchasing a car from us or selling a car to us. How have they been? If they recommend another football player to go, 90% of the work's done.
So essentially, it's almost like a traditional business in that sense, where word of mouth is still the main key thing there.
You'd be surprised the way you and I probably look at Auto Trader all day thinking, oh, I want to get that. What's the market like on this? These guys do not have the time. They won't even see what's on Auto Trader. They won't even see what's on Piston Heads or what's on the market. They'll go through the phone and be like, who's the dealer I trust? Oh, George, he's my mate at GV. Let me give him a quick call. I'm looking for an SVJ, ideally this sort of colour, and I need it ASAP. That's where we deliver. So I can give you so many examples. I had a guy who 720S, he said, gave it to us and said, sell it. And he's like, I'm looking for an F8 Spider. I was in Miami at the time and sourced it while I was in Miami, rang someone and said, have you got this car, blah, blah, blah. Put the transaction together, got a logistics team to collect it, deliver it straight to him, funds transferred there and then. So word of mouth is massive, reputation is massive, but the underlying factor is your service. Make sure the service is correct and on point.
So, George, aside from cars now, where do you go from here in terms of yourself? You know, because you're at top level position arguably at GV, right? So, where do we go from here? Would it be your dream to open your own dealership, or do you, because you and David have such a good bond, good connection? It's almost like do you see this as your business as well? Yeah,
I've referred to it as a business that's grown while I've been here as well. So I really do have a connection with GV in itself, and I treat it like it's my own, which is why I would never do anything against the company. Now, where do I see myself? You're right, I've hit pretty much the heights of where I wanted to achieve, but I don't think the company is at the heights of where it could get. So this is one dealership which has shaken the supercar industry. Now imagine if this dealership had branches, had a Dubai branch, had a branch in Miami, in LA. What's stopping us from running branches all over the world? There's markets everywhere, so yeah.
Yeah, you recently went to Miami as well, wasn't it? I think it was maybe 3 months ago, 4 months ago, something like that.
Just before Christmas, yeah. So I always like to do a little annual break before Christmas and the New Year's, and it was an interesting one. I like to let my hair down. So me as a character is I'm a very friendly guy. I'm a people person. Love speaking to people and getting onto people. But I do love to have
a good time.
And if that means partying, having a drink, going to nice lavish restaurants and whatnot, I think at the end of the day you live your life. I'm going to go into a very cheesy quote, YOLO, you only live once. So if you're doing well, celebrate. I mean, you have to incentivize yourself to work hard, and in order to do that, go all out. So
tell me, what does incentivize you to work hard?
What incentivizes me to work hard?
What's the motivation behind you working hard?
The major factor is money. Don't get me wrong. The money is the driving force in working hard. You see successful people out there, and would never get jealous of looking at someone successful. I just think of, wow, he's done really well.
I could sell him a car.
Look up to him. Could sell him a car is one thing, but the bigger picture is need to make some serious bit of money like that. And then when you start seeing results that you put hard work in the first year, you're earning this, second year, you're earning that, third year, 8 years down the line, I'm hitting figures that I never thought I'd be hitting. I mean, I won't say too much, but there's good money to be made in the car trade and very good money if you're a successful person at doing it as well.
How would someone go around, setting up their own car dealership? Let's just say someone like myself, I have a passion for cars. How do I then become a supercar dealer?
Supercars is a risky game.
In
So
what
you
sense?
either go all in,
Yep.
or if you dabble in it, people might not trust to buy. So think about it from a consumer's point of view. I want to buy a £200,000 car. Am I going to go online and buy it from a reputable dealer who's got 160 other cars in stock? Or would I go to someone who's just got a brand new showroom and selling 5 or 6 others? Naturally, you'll pay an extra £5,000 even to go to an established dealership. 200 grand is not a small amount of money. That's the average price for a sale car, 200, 250, 300. It's not a small bit of money. It's a lot of money to part with, and there's no value and there's no figure that you can put on a stress-free transaction. Now, clearly, looking at the establishment, we can't run away overnight.
Yeah, no, of course not.
So if something ever happens with a car, which unfortunately they do happen sometimes.
Yeah, it's mechanical things, isn't it?
Mechanical things could
At the end
happen.
of the day.
You know that we're not going anywhere and we're going to help you. I know people who have bought, like just today, someone brought a brand new GT4. Within 20 miles, his clutch got overheated and something happened. It popped off. That's a brand new car. So with used cars that have a couple of thousand miles in it, it's inevitable. It might happen. You could get lucky and nothing happens.
Yeah.
But knowing that the dealer itself is reputable and they will help you, that is the game changer. So bringing it back to your question, how can you get into the supercar trade? Without giving away too many tips of my industry, relationships is very big. Having that trust factor from someone to buy from you.
Yeah.
You could sell a car with WhatsApp pictures if they have that trust, which I've done many times. You don't need a showroom. You could just broker a deal. One guy's got one car, the other guy wants the car, you send him some pictures.
You're the middleman taking the car.
You're the middleman, you've done the sale.
Yeah.
But that person's not going to buy off you if he doesn't know you, trust you, and trust your word. So
No, you can't just randomly approach someone saying, yeah, what's happening, mate? Yeah, I've got this car for sale, sort of thing.
there you go.
It's like, who are you? What do you do? What's your brand? What's your company?
Exactly that. So building up that reputation about yourself and being a reputable dealer, being trustworthy, being a man of your word. Those are things that you can't really learn. You need to make sure you have that in you. You're a trustworthy person.
Now, although, you're not going to really go anywhere from GVE, you're here and you're ingrained into GVE, right? Have you thought about any other subsidiary ventures that you've come across? Thought that would be a good idea. That could be a good side thing. Pay for the now £2 petrol prices on the McLaren sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you're always looking at side sort of grafts. When you're earning a very, very good wage and you've got the capability of earning a lot more, you start thinking, okay, I need to start investing this money now. Let's not just blow it all. Let's be sensible. Let's do something. So I've now dabbled in crypto. I dabbling on the property market. Watches. I've flipped a couple recently. In fact, watches is.
I've been getting into watches recently as well. I mean, I was always into watches. I like the look of them, but now I'm actually buying them, and it's just it's crazy.
I'm not good at it though. That's one thing I'm not good at. I sell too early, always.
What watches did you have?
I had a Rolex Daytona, solid gold with a black face.
Yeah.
I sold that for about, it kills me to talk about this right now, but I sold that for about 20 grand less than what it's up for now.
Okay.
And this was only about 2 years ago.
The thing is, you see with them ones, you can't really predict where it's going to go.
Can't predict it, but I only sold it at the time because I was making a profit.
Yeah.
And I just wish I had that now because I love the watch so much. And once again, it comes back to the whole thing, you don't have a crystal ball, you don't know.
You don't know what's going to happen. It's the same situation when I had with the C63. You never know what's going to happen. But
one thing I've learned from that though is don't jump at the opportunity because you think you're making some money.
Yeah.
If you like it, hold on to it. If you lose money, just hold on to it. Hold on to it. And that's one thing I've learned now.
Yeah, the watch is an interesting one, to be fair. Property, you can never go wrong. Bricks and water is always going to be around, isn't it? People need a place to live. That's the way the world's going to run.
Yeah.
When it comes to you buying these special cars like the McLaren Senna that's right next to me, yeah? Obviously, how much is that car? That's about 900,000 million, something like that?
Take it. Sold. No, it's... that one's almost agreed to do that, 620.
Is it? Okay, that's not too bad,
It's fallen a bit. But yeah, 620.
Yeah, 620. Okay, let's talk about the Bugatti then. It will make more sense to talk about in this case. So that's about what, 1.3, I want to say? 1.5?
Yeah, 1.2.
Yeah, 1.3, 1.5. Those cars are obviously such a big expense in terms of the business. You could essentially buy, let's just say, 5 Ferraris for that price. You could maybe buy, I don't know, 5 F12s, call it, roughly? Yeah, roughly around that. So then why, when you buy these cars, do you have customers lined up for them already? Or do you have it because you think you know you got the customer there for it? Because essentially you're partnering with 1.3 million to get yourself into that. But then you could get 5 Ferraris that you know that you could sell tomorrow.
At the end of the day, it's the same as any industry. The stock you buy, you need to be educated on the market to know that you're buying it. The value's not going to fall while you're holding on to it. You've bought it at a good enough price. Now, is it a sellable item? Have you got customers who would buy it? People who are buying these cars, yes, if they sell 2 or 3 of their cars, they can buy a Veyron, they can buy a hypercar. So yes, we have the customers. Now, is the car a good product? Does it have the right service history? Is it in a good condition? Is it fault-free? If that's the case, then it's good stock. You buy it, you know there's money. Now, obviously, if you're investing 1.2 odd million into buying the car, you need to justify spending that much by having a bigger profit margin.
Yeah, of course.
What people don't realize as a consumer is that for us, not our whole profit margin doesn't go into our pocket. Out of that, we need to put a very, very costly warranty on the car. So if someone's buying a 1.5 million pound car, the warranty itself will be 20, 30, 40, 50,000 pounds. We need to make sure the car's serviced correctly before it goes. A Bugatti service with tyres and wheels come up to just short of 100 grand.
Yeah, I think the tyres and the wheels alone, they're 25 grand, right?
The tyres alone are 25 grand. With the wheels as well, it can go up to well over 50. And then you get a major service, come up to 20 odd grand, you're close to 100.
Yeah.
I mean, that car behind me right now, the black Veyron, we spent over 100 grand on that.
What, just while you've had it, just prepping it?
Just getting it serviced, getting the tyres changed, making it one of the best examples.
So with that car being 1.5, now people might look at that like that is crazy profit in the car. You tell me, is it as much profit in that car percentage-wise compared to, you know, your everyday Lambo or Ferrari sort of thing?
Yeah, essentially. I mean, when you put down £1 million of your money in to buy a car, yes, there's going to be a massive profit margin.
Yeah.
£200,000, £300,000 you might make on the car.
Yeah.
But then it comes back to my original point. You're spending that money just as quick. You're putting a warranty on it. You're prepping it. You're putting the service on it. So suddenly that massive margin has been brought down.
Yeah.
Now, in the market, with the way it is and how buoyant it is, we're not making the margins that we were making years ago because we're having to pay top money for cars. But then again, 3 years ago, we were selling 20 cars a month. Last month alone, we closed 73 deals. So that's 73 supercars we put on the road in 1 month.
That's crazy.
So we're making smaller margins, but we're churning over more stock, which essentially is making our total revenue and our total profit for the month a lot higher than what we were doing years ago. So smaller margins for us isn't an issue because it means we're still turning over cars. You put more money down to buy a bigger car, yes, to be a bigger margin. Might take longer to sell, but it's good to still have those cars in stock. Someone coming to buy a Hurricane might look at the fact that you've got a Veyron and you've got a Senna and you've got an Enzo parked there. They must be trustworthy people. They've got some serious stock. So it's an all-rounder. It helps.
Talk to me about that. How do you plan and decide how many, or not decide, your target for selling that many cars? So let's just say you sold 77 last month. How many, when you come to like your board meetings, I suppose, how do you then plan and target how many cars you want to sell in the second quarter of the year, for example?
So, I'm going to have to shout out a very well-known person. Goes by the name of Grant Cardone.
Okay.
Have you heard of him?
Yep. 10x rule.
10x.
Yeah.
Man, this guy, when I joined into the sales game, I was reading, I wouldn't say I love reading books, but I love learning and I love trying to level up. So the king of sales in my eyes is Grant Cardone.
Yeah.
And I learned a lot from reading his books, going to his seminars and just thinking, this guy is super successful at what he does, so surely he must be correct in some of the things he says. Now 10x, I live by that rule. I had a salesperson who just joined 2 years ago, and I think I did two car sales that morning, and he was looking at me. He's like, "Shit, you're on fire! Like that's pretty solid, man." And he's like, "Why are you not happy? Why are you still pacing around on your phone? Like, surely you just be chilled. Like, you'd be happy now, no?" And he reminds me about this every month. And I said to him, "Nah." I said, "I'm not happy until I get 5. Let me get 5 on the board today, and then maybe I'll burst a smile and be like, you know what, it's been a good day." And that's because essentially one car sale is still good money. Car sale a day in a supercar game for one person, still good money. It's not what I live to now, but for someone who's starting in the industry, it's decent money. I'm pushing myself to try and get 5 car sales, which will then lead me to get 3 car sales. Now, if I'm pushing myself, I'm thinking that 10x rule.
Oh, okay.
So I'm thinking,
I'm
going to get 10 car sales today. It might seem impossible, but let's make a process. If I call these many people by this time, and if I have these many viewings, and if I prospect with so-and-so people by this time, and then spend 2 hours trying to close these people, I'll get 10 car sales. Now, if I've programmed my mind and I've scheduled my day to close 10 car sales, it's a defeat if I do anything less than 3.
Yeah, for sure. Because you've planned, even though it might seem like over planning and overcompensating. Yeah. You're aiming for the stars, essentially.
Aiming for the stars to then achieve a top level. Now, some people might be watching this and thinking, oh, well, 3 car sales a day, that's nothing. I know people in main dealers who are selling 5, 10 cars a day even. Now, remember, all we sell is supercars and luxury cars. The cheapest car we have in stock is maybe 100,000. The most expensive car we got in stock is 3 million.
Which one's that?
Enzo. So just short of 3 million.
Which is also, we should mention, signed by Michael Schumacher as well.
Yeah, there you go. You
remember that one?
Good memory.
Yeah, of course. I was just thinking about that in the windshield right there.
So, selling 3 supercars or...
Just a quick one. If that car sells off the back of that, do I get commission?
I'll take you out for a drink.
All right, I could agree with that. Go on. Selling 3 supercars, yeah.
Selling 3 supercars for one person with big margins in there is quite an achievement, considering it's only supercars. How many people do you see driving supercars out on the road?
Yeah,
now,
many.
You see a lot of people because you're involved in that whole lifestyle and you're constantly surrounded by them. But we have people walk into the showroom who almost faint and they're like, I've never seen those many cars under one roof. They go to London, they stand on the road picturing cars because to them, it's an unachievable, unattainable thing. They almost look at it as though it's on the other side of the world. I'm never going to be able to touch it. I'm never going to be able to sit in it. But look at that is amazing. I used to be one of those kids when I was small, and I used to look at it and think that is amazing. I can't believe that. What would it be like? One day I'm going to get myself into that, but that is so unachievable for me right now because I came from very humble beginnings. I was looking at it thinking that's amazing for me to try and think I can get into that. So, coming back onto that point, there's not many of these cars out there. So for us to say as one dealership, one salesperson is selling 3 a day with a sales team of 7 salespeople altogether, if we can all share that ideology, and me being the sales director and in the morning meetings trying to motivate the guys and say, listen, let's get 3, let's get 10, we're aiming for 5, blah, blah, blah. We're going to get 3 car sales. If we all achieve 3 car sales in a day, times 7, we're clearing the showroom out. Now, I'm not saying that's the numbers we're hitting, but that is what we need to get to.
Aspire to basically be.
Find another supercar dealer, and I stress on the fact when I say supercar dealer, not sports car dealer, supercar, purely supercars. Find another supercar dealer that is selling or has completed 70 supercar or hypercar or luxury car sales in a month.
But then let me ask you there, that like supercar selling is wicked. But what if I was to come to you and say, George, I want a C63 sports car? Could you do that as well? Or?
Yeah, of course we can. Yeah, I can source it for you. We have those cars in stock as well, but it's not our bread and butter. Our reputation is supercars and luxury cars. So some people, there's companies out there who do amazing with AMG stock, M-powered stock. Got a very good friend and client of mine, Zishan from German Car Specialist. He lives off M-power cars.
That's who sold my C63.
Really? Yeah. You know Zishan?
I don't know him, but I mean, I'll probably go there if I know him by face or something like that. He
is a top guy. You need to see him one day. That's someone you should do a podcast with.
You know what? I obviously, because I met him before I started CEOCAST, I said to him from day one, jump on a podcast, and he was just like,
he's an inspiration. He used to work for Mercedes, and anyways, long story short, I've sold him an Aventador S, an Aventador Roadster,
he's got a
Hurricane,
lime green
Hurricane
Aventador, right?
Spider.
Or something.
I've got one of his Aventadors parked around the back. He's got a Hurricane Spider. He is Mr. Lambo.
Yeah.
You would never see this guy walking through the showroom with the out, head to bottom, dressed in Dior, Gucci, and
and every time you go to a showroom, he's always dressed up.
Yeah.
He's got something spicy there, and then his car.
and the most humble, nice guy. I've got so much time for people like that who are humble, down to earth, but doing really well.
Yeah.
So inspirational guy.
Yeah, Zishan, if you're watching this, cut me a deal on the next car. Yeah, love. Doesn't say off the back of that. This is the debate that I have all the time. This is why sometimes I think, should I get a supercar and whatnot? Because obviously the field that I'm in, you meet so many different people, most of which all have a car with a 100 grand price mark plus sort of thing. Last night, for example, I was at one of my mates' restaurants just open around the corner from here called Ceocastinfo, and all of them, they got Hurricanes. Aleem was there in his Dawn, G-Wagons, Euruses, you name it, the cars are there. And then you're thinking, I'm here in, it's a nice car, don't get me wrong, BMW 3 Series. Do I need to level up sort of thing? I need to get the car. And then you have that debate in your head of where you think you need it sort of thing. I don't know where I'm going with this point, I'm not going to lie, but...
I'm just going to touch on that point. Your mentality there is winner's mentality. Because straight away, if you weren't going to be successful in life, I'm going to call it now. No, I'm nobody to call it, but if I had a feeling and intuition, I think you're going to do very well in life, because straight away your mentality is, these people around me have got really nice cars. I need to level up. It's not a case of these people, what are they doing, man? Surely they're doing something dodgy to get that money.
Oh yeah, no, of course, I would never think like that, no.
So the fact that you're thinking you're getting inspired by them, you're winning already.
Yeah, and adding to the whole points I said in the beginning of this podcast, your car is your networking tool. Like, if I had to think about the amount of times I could probably get into a room with someone based on my car, essentially, and do podcasts with someone who's open. As I said, mostly supercar owners have businesses. Now, if I went to, what's like that car place they always have the car meets at, in like that hotel or something, if it's in Chigwell or something. Sharnbrook.
Oh, Sharnbrook,
yeah. So if I went to someone like there with a supercar, all of them got supercars, all of them guaranteed got businesses, meet them, yeah, cool, jump on a podcast. Do you know what I mean? For me, it's just like a whole networking tool sort of thing.
It's
all
true.
these things play into my mind.
That's one way of looking at it, but another way as well is carry yourself as a person.
Yeah, of course,
I've had people walk in here and jump out of a 15 grand transit van with holes in their socks, holes in the t-shirt.
Yeah. You never judge a book by.
And walked out with some of the most expensive cars in the showroom, and they've not negotiated a single penny off, and they've paid money up front, whole car, see the car next week, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But they will spend the money for it. They didn't need an expensive supercar to come and get my attention, to make me give them the best service. So at the end of the day, it's how you carry yourself. If you carry yourself as a respected person, you don't need assets to try and help you.
No, not
so
true, no.
I think, and honestly, take this as feedback from me as well, from what I know of you, you carry yourself as a very good, inspiring person as well. So
appreciate that.
You're going to go places.
See, look at that. George just sold me a car there and then. I think on that note, we're going to probably end the podcast there, because I think me and George got to talk some figures. I said this last time as well. I didn't buy anything, but this time I'm buying something. I think we got you got that GTS around? GTC?
It's in our storage compound, but I'll show you some pictures and I'll get you excited about it, don't worry.
We'll do something. I think we'll do that. So George, I want to thank you very much for coming on the podcast.
Thanks for having me on.
Hope you lot all enjoyed that. Please, if you did enjoy it, make sure you drop a like, subscribe, comment, share with everyone else. And if you're looking to get your dream car, you know where to come. George from DV, obviously.
Thanks.
Cool.
Appreciate
George,
it.
thank you very much for coming on.